Hello everyone. Basically, today we have to learn about our this introduction to organic chemistry. We have already learned what is called chemistry, what is called organic chemistry, and what is called science. Right. So these are some of the key definitions we people have learned in our previous lecture. So pharmacy, our subject name is pharmaceutical organic chemistry. So chemistry is basically branch of chemical science which deals with ions, atoms, molecules, and their behavior under different conditions. So that is called chemistry. So today we will have also some kind of introduction to organic chemistry. We have also revised what is called organic chemistry. It is a kind of chemistry of organic compounds. That is organic chemistry. Why it is called organic? Because organic is that dictionary meaning of organic is related to organs. Organs means hand, nose, eyes, heart, kidney, whatsoever. So, and these are organs. If we try to identify, so they are made up of small features, small elements, such carbon, along with nitrogen, oxygen, sulfur, or whatso other elements are there. But majority of this complex skeleton that is of carbon. So organic chemistry is basically chemistry of carbonic compounds or chemistry of carbon. Okay. So similarly, we majorly want to introduce this with the chemistry of carbon. And what is carbon? Carbon, we know that it is a kind of element. It is present in periodic table. At this position, you can see it is highlighted there. 6 carbon 12. Okay. So what is 6? 6 is the atomic number of carbon, and 12 is atomic weight, because carbon possesses 6 electrons in its outermost periphery and 6 proton as well as 6 neutron in its nucleus. So 6 proton and 6 neutron. So atomic weight is equal to this number of summation of the number of proton plus that of neutron. Okay. So this is a 6 carbon 12, which is the smallest atom, having only 6 electrons in its outermost configuration. There are so many atoms. The present periodic table is which is there on your screen, which contains around 111 atoms or elements of this periodic table. Okay, this is of 2005. If we go to 2020, so maybe these numbers are beyond 118 or 20. And further, several elements are in the, or maybe some of the elements may be present on of the universe, right? So, but which are not discovered as of now, may be discovered by scientists like someone of you in the future. Okay, so this way, our organic chemistry is basically chemistry of carbon, 6 carbon 12. And this carbon is present in so many other molecules, because we know that when the atoms are connected with each other through certain bonds, so they will basically compose of a particular kind of molecules, because atoms will combine with each other and they may make certain kind of this molecules. बहुत सारे types होते हैं. We know carbohydrates, sugars, the energy of life. We cannot survive without sugar. The perfect example is six. How many carbons? Six. And it is a potential source of energy, the readily available source of energy. When Divya madam will teach you biochemistry, you will come to know through several cycles, glycolysis, Krebs cycle, TCA cycle, and other ETC, electron transfer chain. Part of this you people have been introduced during your 11th and 12th science. Okay, so this way, chemistry of carbonic compounds is highly useful for this. And it is part of simple molecule. The simplest molecule on the carbon on the earth having single carbon atom is methane. Okay, so methane is this kind of element. Having certain DNA, right from the beginning, I am asking you organic compounds, chemistry of organ. So each and every organ, उसका zooming करते जाओ, जैसे वो मोबाइल फोन में आप zoom करते हो ना किसी भी इमेज का, तो सिमिलरली आप उसका उसके अंदर क्या है, उसके अंदर क्या है, how what is consist of, finally what is there. So organ cells, finally that is made up of DNA. In our case, it is DNA. For viruses, it may be RNA, ribonucleic acids, coronaviruses. So that is having RNA as its genetic material. So, or HIV, that is having RNA, a kind of retrovirus. Urea, we know NH2CONH2. That is also having single carbon atom. NH2CO. तो CO का जो कार्बोनाइल है ग्रुप है उसमें भी एक कार्बन प्रेजेंट है, right? Then DDT. This is as of now no useful. DDT is banned. It has been used as previously it was used as insecticide to kill several insecticides and in control of to control the growth of insects. जैसे मच्छर मारने की दवा है पर वो भी बहुत ज्यादा people we used to use DDT. तो DDT ने क्या किया कि वो it also entered the food chain and also tried to kill the human beings. So that's why DDT is banned. It is now not used. Do you know the full form of DDT? कोई बताएगा मुझे what is the full form of DDT,
Yes.
insecticide?
Yes, sir.
डाइफिनाइल ट्राइक्लोरोइथेन. So उसमें भी एक दो कार्बन का एलिमेंट, two elements of carbons are present. Okay, so that is DDT. Penicillin, a kind of antibiotic. Can anyone from the class can tell me who has discovered penicillin?
Alexander Fleming.
Yes, Alexander Fleming, as rightly said by Hetvi. So Alexander Fleming was the first person who has discovered penicillin. Once a day he was working in his lab and he find out that certain compounds can inhibit the growth of certain fungus. But this compound is basically from some other bacteria. Later on, he identified this bacteria as Penicillium chrysogenum or Penicillium notatum. So this bacteria are the potential source of or generation of particular compound named as penicillin. Or penicillin is a kind of antibiotic. So it is the first antibiotic which was discovered. And this antibiotic has saved the lives of so many people during the wars. जब एक देश दूसरे देश के साथ लड़ाई झगड़ा करने जाता है, आज भी लड़ाई झगड़ा होता है ना, between yourself and your neighbor, between your brother and other brother, or sister brother or sister sister, झगड़ा होता है. तो ये झगड़ा तो सिंपल होता है, but जब when there is a war between one country and other country, they used to fight with the weapons. Okay, and that can cause injuries. If we want to prevent, if we want to recover the soldiers from this, then antibiotic is highly useful. So penicillium was discovered and that was used in such kinds of wars since its discovery. The another compound is nicotine. पान की या फिर चाय की दुकान पे जाओ या फिर वहां पे तो फिर निकोटीन होता है. Even this tobacco, which you might have heard, people used to chew the tobacco, and it is that tobacco that is having a chemical constituent inside it, that is nicotine. So nicotine is also kind of organic compound having nitrogen and 6-member cyclic ring, which is called pyridine. You will come to know when you will learn some of the medicinal chemistry concepts. Or nicotine, when you will learn the pharmacology, you will come to know nicotinyl acetylcholinergic receptors. Abhi to nahi, but aap just yaad rakho. Again, the point is this compound is also made up of carbon. Then aspirin. Okay, can anyone tell me what is called aspirin? What is aspirin? कोई बताएगा मुझे from the class? Let me ask this question to Jill Trivedi. Are you there, Jill?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you tell me what is called aspirin. Aspirin का use क्या है?
Sir, aspirin is a drug. It is used in the case of fever.
Yeah, so majorly aspirin is used in fever. It is non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. What is called NSAIDs. So this NSAIDs, that is all non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. So in that case, this NSAIDs, especially aspirin, is used in fever that reduces the fever. It is having anti-inflammatory, antipyretic, and analgesic action. Analgesic means sometimes we are having some pain. So in that case, aspirin is used. Although paracetamol is more used than aspirin to relieve from the pain. You might have heard of certain tablet called this Dolo 650. So that is a marketed formulations of paracetamol. Okay. So all these drugs are also made up of carbon. So wherever you see on the earth, you will not find a single, or you will find most of the molecules, most of the structures, complexes, they are made up of carbons. Okay. But remember, all the compounds are not organic compounds. For example, carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. We cannot call them as organic compounds because it is a simple CO2 or CO. So although they are having one carbon, but they are not categorized as a organic compound. Okay. Then carbonates, you might sodium carbonate, Na2CO3, sodium cyanide, NaCN, KCN, potassium cyanide, sodium bicarbonate, જેને આપણે કહીએ ધોવાનો સોડા. Na2CO3 is ખાવાનો સોડા, baking powder, and this is washing powder. NaHCO3, sodium bicarbonate. Okay, so this sodium, this cooking, baking powder and washing powder, so they are not considered as organic compounds, although there is presence of one carbon element into this. So these are basically exceptions. Okay, because for carbonate, cyanides and sodium biocarbonates, so they are basically having sodium salts, so hence they are not considered as a organic compounds in scientific community. This gentleman who is there on your screen, whose name is Friedrich Wöhler, so he was the first scientist that who discovered urea and identified it is an organic compound which is generated by heating ammonium cyanate. Ammonium cyanate is again inorganic compound, NH4CN. Ammonium thiocyanate is also there, NH4SCN. In 1828, roughly 200 years ago, then 2020, आज की तारीख से 200 साल पहले, 200 में भी थोड़ा कम है, 192 years, Wöhler has discovered this urea. And urea, we know when we go to some urinals, जैसे ही हम बस स्टेशन पे जाए, रेलवे स्टेशन पे जाए, then we have a lot of smelling at the toilets or washrooms. And that smell is because of this compound called urea. Okay, and it is or but from which Waller has discovered ammonium cyanate NH4CN, that is an inorganic compound. So in the 18th century, Jacob Berzelius, John Jacob Berzelius, he classified the compounds as two types, organic and inorganic. Organic are the one which are generated from living matter or once living matter, मतलब पहले जिंदा थे अभी नहीं है. So that compounds are basically called as organic compounds. Our body which is there. So what happens to the body after that? Then આપણે sometimes it may be buried into some earth, or sometimes જેને આપણે ગુજરાતીમાં કહીએ તો અગ્નિ સંસ્કાર. So we are not keeping the body after the death of any person, but this body which is composed of, in some other disciplines it is said that body is composed of 5 elements: jal, prithvi, agni, vayu, akash. Means maybe earth, water, gas, space, and earth. Okay, then it is light. Okay, jal, prithvi, agni, vayu, akash. So that is there. So that way these 5 elements are there according to some literature, maybe Ayurveda or some other spiritual science. Okay, but this way our body is there. So basically if we die, then sometimes you might have heard in some Discovery Channel that scientists are digging out from the earth, and they are finding some elements of, let us say, this backbone of dinosaur. So then they conclude that we found the backbone of dinosaur. So in previous so and so years ago, dinosaur were existing on the earth. वो कहाँ से उनको पता लगता है? So the उनका जो डायनासोर का जो बॉडी होता है, जो उनका blood, whatever their eyes, nose, or whatsoever, that has been completely disappeared once they are died. But their backbone, I mean to say, કંકાલ તંત્ર જેને આપણે ગુજરાતીમાં કહીએ, હાડકાઓનું પિંજરું, that backbone of these bones, if it is there, then scientists claim that yes, this is the bone of dinosaur. This bone cannot belong to human being or cannot belong to some other animals. So why that? Because organic compounds are there. So after the death of animals, these organic compounds will be corroded or will be disappeared. But minerals will not disappear. So why I am taking this example, minerals, because our bonds, which are made up of calcium phosphates or calcium phosphates and some other apatites whatsoever, calcium apatite. So they will not disappear because they are made up of minerals. જેને ગુજરાતીમાં કહીએ તો ખનિજ તત્વો. Okay, so that way these organic and inorganic compounds are there. Either they may belong to living matter like you and me, or they may belong to some once living, मतलब पहले जिंदा थे अभी नहीं है. So it may belongs to human being or any kind of animal or living matter. It may be from bacteria. Bacteria may be living matter होता है because they are also having cell wall, cells, and their DNA, RNA. So that's why that is also a kind of organic matter. But minerals are not there. Sodium bicarbonate, that is a mineral. Sodium carbonate, that is a mineral. Or sodium cyanate, that is a mineral. Because they are minerals made up of certain sodiums, potassium, cesium, and other elements which are considered as the minerals. मिनरल वाटर आपने पिया तो होगा ना रेलवे स्टेशन. अभी तो कोरोना है तो मत जाना, पर कभी घूमने गए होंगे शिमला, मनाली, कुल्लू, व्हाट्सएवर, या दार्जिलिंग, सापुतारा, कहीं पे भी, तो मिनरल वाटर की बॉटल परचेज की होगी तो उसका नाम होता है मिनरल वाटर, पर वो लोग उसमें कितना मिनरल ऐड करते हैं वो तो वही जानते हैं। बहुत ही कम मिनरल्स होते हैं, सोडियम पोटेशियम। उस पर आप बॉटल का लेबल एक बार पढ़ के देखना, व्हाट इज द लेवल ऑफ दिस मिनरल्स, and it will be in microgram or milligram, and that is too much negligible amount. We cannot consider this as a sufficiently added number of minerals. Okay, sodium chloride, that is also another example of inorganic compound. So many other inorganic compounds you will come across when you will be taught organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry. Organic chemistry, where myself and Dr. Sureja will be discussing only what is called this organic compounds. What is the bonds? What is the atoms, molecules, their structures, and so on? What are the organic reactions for these kinds of compounds? Electrophilic aromatic substitution, nucleophilic aromatic substitution, addition, rearrangement, isomerization. So all this we will discuss in organic chemistry class. Okay. So this is much more required because आपको पता होना चाहिए what is the difference between organic compound and inorganic compound. Okay, although inorganic compounds also sometimes belongs to this way. So this is importance of basically carbon. Now carbonic, we don't want to go on to depth of so many other things, but this is a major difference between organic compound and inorganic compound. Organic compound may be having covalent bond. For example, methane, right? CH4, one carbon, four hydrogens. So that is having four covalent bonds. But the compound is organic one and having covalent bond. But contrary to this, inorganic compound, sodium chloride, NaCl. So હવે એમાં covalent bond નથી. Now it is having ionic bond, Na plus Cl minus. So they are making a somehow kind of bond that is called ionic bond, which is made up of ions. Okay. So sodium ion basically that will lose one electron from its outermost orbital and it will assume the complete octet structure. Chloride ion, which will receive one additional electron and will have complete octet structure. But since it has received, so it will have negative charge. Sodium has lost one electron. So that's why it will have positive charge. This is most simplest basics of organic chemistry. थोड़ा बहुत आप भूल गए हो, याद नहीं है अभी के लिए तो चलेगा, but go back, you do not have a habit of reading chemistry concepts और थोड़ा भूल गए हो, then go back to your books of +1 and +2, 11 साइंस एंड 12th साइंस की बुक में वापस जाओ और वापस रीड करो what are these basics, because these basics will really need you will go for learning some other subjects of your pharmacy program, PharmD program. Okay, उसके लिए आपको ये basics will require a lot. Basics के बिना आप आपका वो आगे आपका study that will be more difficult. Okay, then forces. For organic compounds, the force is called intermolecular forces. What can be the force? So we will also learn in the next lecture what can be the forces between the molecules. Okay, so the forces of organic compounds are weak, but for inorganic compound, such kind enough. Okay, so sodium chloride, although being an ionic compound, it is soluble in water. Maybe methane cannot be soluble in water. Itself is a gas molecule, and if you want to solubilize methane into water, we will have to use a certain kind of process equipments or whatsoever. But to dissolve sodium chloride in water, that is much easy. हर अभी आप लंच करने जाओगे 2 से 2.5 के बीच में. Okay, so you might be using the delicious foods. Let me give you some example. Maybe roti, sabji, dal, bhat. So without that salt, table salt, sodium chloride વગર ખાવાનું નહીં ભાવે. ગમે એવું દુનિયાના કોઈ પણ ખૂણેથી ખાવાનું લાવ્યા હશો. પણ that's NaCl, table salt, is utmost requirement for this purpose. Okay, so but again, it is inorganic compound. It is not organic. Sodium chloride, right? Then physical state. So for organic compound, the physical state may be gaseous, liquid, or it may be solid as well. Glucose is solid in nature. मेडिकल पे जाओ और ग्लूकोज का 500 ग्राम 250 ग्राम का बोतल ले लो, you will come to know glucose is solid in nature. Okay, so some compounds are having high melting points of the solids. NaCl, sodium chloride. Do you know the melting point of sodium chloride? It is more than 800 degrees Celsius. So that way, sodium chloride is a high melting solids. जल्दी से वो पिघलता नहीं है. Melting means आपको सोडियम क्लोराइड एक बॉल में लेना है, एक तपेली में लेना है, एक बॉल में लेना है, and you have to heat it so that you can melt it. Phenomena of melting, conversion of the solid into liquid, that is called the melting phenomena. Flammability. Organic compounds can catch fire immediately, such as petrol, petroleum products. You are aware about this. Petrol, diesel, kerosene. So they are also organic compounds. कहाँ से मिलते हैं? They are petroleum products. और petroleum products कहाँ से? From the depth of the earth. So we used to get these petroleum products. Or India is importing petroleum products from other countries such as Saudi Arabia and Kuwait or whatsoever. Because we don't have the sources of petroleum products. We are importing this petrol, diesels from this kind of countries. Okay, because they are having, જેમ આપણે કહીએ ને કે ત્યાંના લોકો પાસે મોટા મોટા તેલના કુવાઓ છે. So wells of the oils are there in their country. So from there we are importing such kind of this petroleum products. So these petroleum products can catch fire immediately. पेट्रोल पंप पे आप जाओगे तो आपको पता होगा कि वहां पे मोबाइल फोन अलाउड नहीं है यूज करना. वहां पे आप माचिस से आप भी सिगरेट तंबाकू बीड़ी नहीं पी सकते हो, बिकॉज दिस पेट्रोलियम प्रोडक्ट्स कैन इजीली कैच फायर. और एक बार फायर जैसे एक चिंगारी लग गई आग की तो इट विल इमीडिएटली कैच फायर. यू माइट हैव read the newspaper of last week where there was fire in one of the factories of this Ahmedabad. So I will not give the name, but there it was there. So this fire is because of what? Maybe some organic compounds are there and it caught immediately fire, and then it could burn the whole factory. And also catch the fire. The liquefied petroleum gas we are using at our home, whether it is from Gujarat gas or whether it is from Bharat gas or Indian or whatsoever. So it can also catch fire. So that having some kind of petroleum gases, we are using that for cooking purpose. Okay, so organic chemistry is everywhere for heat, but we cannot survive without such kinds of chemistry. Inorganic compounds are non-flammable. आप salt ले लो और उसको आग में डाल दो, NaCl will not catch fire. पर थोड़ा सा ही आप बेंजीन ले लो और उसको क्या पानी में उसको आप आग में डालो, उसको आप फायर में डालो, तो it will catch fire. वो भी खुद जलने लगेगा. Okay, we people are also, आग में डालो तो हम भी जलने लग जाएंगे, पर थोड़े टेम्परेचर के बाद. Okay, so we are also flammable just like the molecules. Okay, then solubility in water. Organic compounds, depending upon their molecular weight, solubility may change. Depending upon their functional group, solubility may change. Water, methane is insoluble in water, but methanol is soluble in water क्योंकि methanol के पास OH functional group है, hydroxyl group, which can make hydrogen bond. और hydrogen bond बनाएगा तभी वो water में जाके soluble होगा. Okay, so some compounds are soluble and some compounds are insoluble. ये जो completely insoluble लिखा है, that is not true. But majority organic compounds are insoluble in water. एक sentence में बोलना चाहे तो majorly organic compounds are insoluble in water. But inorganic compounds are soluble, such as sodium chloride, sodium bromide, potassium iodide, or it may be sodium iodide. Okay, sodium fluoride. So all these compounds are soluble in water because they are having ions, and water is also made up of ions. know very well it is made up of H plus OH minus. So there is a phenomena called like dissolves like. Okay, so what does it mean? जो बात है. If solvent is polar, it can solubilize polar compounds. If solvent is non-polar, solubilize non-polar compounds. So this we will also visit the solubility in different contexts. Conductivity. Conduct the electricity. Conductance आपने physics में थोड़ा बहुत पढ़ा होगा. You might have read about this and understood about the conductance, the resistance. Okay, so organic compounds are not conducting any electricity, but inorganic compounds can conduct the electricity because they are having ions, and ions can easily mobilize and can easily transfer the charge, the negative charge of electricity. So that's why this inorganic compounds are can conduct the electricity. Chemical reactions for organic compound, for inorganic compound, it is faster and simpler. But that also depends upon the nature of chemical reaction which we are trying. Okay. Yes, we will restrict ourselves for this class up to this one, and in from coming class onwards we shall continue from here onwards from this slide. So okay, thank you everyone, thank you so much.